Everyone eats out, but people often miss how the food arrives on their plate. Every meal has a story of growers, suppliers, founders, and operators making it all happen. Welcome to Grounded. I'm Lauren Mitchell, and each week I will bring you conversation with the amazing people behind the brands you know and the ones you'll want to know. Grounded is powered by the Buyer's Edge platform, the leading food service digital procurement network, powered by data, software, and collaborative relationships. Let's get grounded. I am thrilled to be joined today by four very incredible women, each from different companies, all making their mark in the hospitality space. A big thank you to Amy Holm for bringing this group together. So as we close out 2025 and look ahead to the next year, many of us are reflecting on this past year, our busy travel schedules, how we navigated this through that. And as we look to the next year, really come to one question: how do I continue to grow and excel in my career, but keep a healthy body and mind while doing so, right? It's that perfect balance. Today's conversation brings together the women who I feel can help give us an answer, or at least just insight into how they're doing it, and I feel is working. They are phenomenal women, and I'm just so excited to share them with you today. So without further ado, Julie, Shelly, Liz, and Kelly, welcome to the show. All right, I want to start with some they waved if you're not listening.
Thank you.
I want to start with some introductions and a peek behind the curtain of what each of you does from day to day. Again, the goal of this is not only to share the wonderful companies that they're with and how they might help you, but also give you an insight into whether they have a state-to-state travel schedule, a national travel schedule, and that'll be important as we talk about how fitness fits in with that, not to mention managing family life and logistics while doing so. Okay, so let's kick it off with Julie Zucker from Branded Hospitality. Julie is a partner and the Chief Marketing Officer at Branded Hospitality. She's been featured in Food Business News, The Wall Street Journal, and Forbes, and she's a familiar face on panels across the industry. You've probably seen her all over social media. She's a wonderful, wonderful influence. She also produces and writes all the episodes of the Hospitality Hangout podcast. She currently serves on the board for QSR Women in Restaurant Leadership and as an advisory member of LEAD. Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
I'm so happy.
And no shameless plug for the podcast behind me or anything. It's stuck on the wall. I couldn't take it off.
Oh my goodness.
But
you're not the first podcaster I've had on the podcast, but it's an element of nerves that it brings for sure. So yeah.
But it's fun to be on this side of the camera, not the back of the camera, usually doing the production. So it's fun to be in front of the camera today.
Yeah. Okay. Share a bit about what your current role and what your typical day looks like at Branded Hospitality.
Thank you again for having me here. So Branded Hospitality, very hard for people to understand what we do, so I'll try and keep it short. Branded does many things, but first and foremost, we are restaurant owners and operators. We've been running restaurants in New York City for the past 30-odd years. I actually started my career working on the restaurant end of our company. Before Branded Hospitality in its current form was there, we were restaurant owners. I was running marketing for all of our restaurants, standing on table, taking pictures of food, working with influencers, coming up with LTOs. When we tested in technology, I was the one who was helping train our servers. And about 6 years ago, we were testing a new technology when we converted a diner concept to a bar concept. And we said, what's going to separate all of our bar from every other bar in New York City? So we installed a self-pour beer wall. And the joke is that we love the company so much, we bought the company, but we really just made an investment into Pour My Beer. And then that's when we kind of had our aha moment where it's like, okay, we're restaurant operators. We are early adopters to tech. How can we be using tech, not just in our stores to help our lives, but also then how can we make this part of our business in a new model and investing in these emerging restaurant companies? For us, we had restaurants, so we could test before we could invest. So that's really the impetus between us going from restaurant operators to restaurant investors. To date, we have 60 direct restaurants, direct investments, not just in emerging restaurant technology, but in emerging restaurant brands. But backtrack to when we made that first investment and we started this version 2.0 of Branded Hospitality Ventures or Branded Group or Branded Strategic. But right now, just branded hospitality. And we started a podcast as our own marketing effort to help spread the word of what we were doing and our technology companies that we were investing in and our restaurants that we had. And we also then started a newsletter, which just started as a weekend memo to send to our LPs saying, here's what happened at Branded this week. Here's what happened in the industry. Fast forward, our podcast, The Hospitality Hangout, has grown tremendously. Our newsletter has grown tremendously. And also, we started off by doing events just in New York City. And the idea was to connect our emerging restaurant and technology brands to whether it's investors, all companies do need. They need capital, customers, and connections. So we'd have an event connecting our portfolio companies to the different groups. And then from there, COVID happened. And then when events came back, instead of doing it in New York City, we hit the road for events and conferences. So that's my way of weaving back to me traveling. And now Branded not only goes to all the amazing industry conferences throughout the year, we have about 8 to 10 that we attend, but we put together fun cocktails and connections parties on the roads at these events. And I do run those parties as well. And we do pop up our podcast on the road at conferences. So that's how it takes me from standing on tables, taking pictures of food, to building a restaurant portfolio, to coming up with marketing ideas, and then hitting the road to kind of share what we do and
Um,
bring the industry together.
Very, very heavy travel schedule, a social
Yes.
battery that I have no idea how you do it, and I need all the tips on that. I can, I mean, just to be networking in the way that you do, reaching all the brands and then hosting the show, very busy schedule. So excited to have your perspective on today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Shelly Garner, Assistant Vice President of Area Field Sales for Ecolab. Shelly is actually speaking to us from her hotel room at the moment in New Orleans, speaks to her travel schedule as well. She's built an incredible network through her involvement with the Association of Healthcare Food Service, the Texas Restaurant Association, and the Women's Food Service Forum. And in her so-called spare time, you can probably find her doing CrossFit because, of course, she is. Shelly, let's start with you. Can you introduce yourself and share a bit about your current role and how you guys help?
Yes, thank you. And so excited to be here and be sharing this podcast with these lovely ladies. I will say one of the highlights of my career was when I made the B list. So shout out to Julie and Brandon. So I am the area field sales manager for Ecolab. So what that means is I manage about 130 people that spread out between the DFW market, Panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, into Wichita, Kansas. So my team is a team that goes in to service our customers. And I'll take a step back and say, so I work for Ecolab. And for those of you who don't know, Ecolab is the global leader in health and hygiene and chemicals and sanitation. And so the piece of the business that I am in is the sexy back of house side. So we actually wash dishes and clean sheets. So we're the chemistry that goes into making sure that you have a wonderful guest experience on the front side. So we take care of the things that you shouldn't have to think about when you're inside your restaurants. So my team is the team that goes in to work on the dish machines and make sure that your chemicals are pumping the way that they should. But I also kind of get to work in a different segment as well. My previous role was industry relations. And as we all know, you don't just come into it and build relationships and then walk away. So with that, I've actually walked onto a couple different boards, which has allowed me the opportunity to not only cover my entire market, but then still make sure I stay connected to the industry with the board work that I do. So I still probably travel not quite as much as I did just in the industry, but still a heavy amount between the board work and then also with my field team.
Yeah, of course, having a field across two different states, Texas and Oklahoma, that alone. I love hearing from women who have get established enough in their career they can join networking and board functions because I do think that that takes a certain amount of expertise just to be able to dedicate the time and really energy. But the insights that you can gain from that and apply to your team members in your current position is just it's so helpful. So I love how we have a bunch of that on this call currently. All right, so as we go from Shelly, I want to tip it over to Liz and then Kelly. So both are two founders of their current company, so bring a different perspective of time and time management. Liz is the founder of Starry Strategy, and she describes herself as a brand builder, mom of 5, and creative powerhouse. Liz leads a global branding firm that collaborates with brands both big, like Stanley, Cava, and Chick-fil-A, and small, including independents, nonprofits, and startups. She began her career at the world's largest restaurant company, helping a global legacy brand make a comeback through innovation and cross-functional collaboration. From there, she spent more than a decade shaping insights, strategy, and design for names like Starbucks, Cinnabon, and Panera. At the heart of her work, and you'll hear it today, is the North Star process, a story first framework that defines brand purpose and uses AI to activate it across every touch point. So I'll let Liz give you more of an update on her end. But Liz, thanks for joining the show.
Of course, wonderful to be with you and see a few of my favorites too. Fellow moms unite. You did a wonderful job, I think, Lauren, of the introduction. We specialize at Starry in insight, strategy, design, and innovation. We're doing a lot of innovation work lately, filling restaurant brands' pipelines with not just products, but product platforms that have really newsworthy promotions behind them. So that's been what we've been most busy with. I don't know if I've been inspired by Julie, but we have a lot of the same things happening with a Starry-Eyed newsletter that is sent every other Friday, just sharing ways to stay creative and inspired ways to leverage AI lately, especially for those on the innovation front or thinking through what's next for their brands. And then in the last couple of weeks, we just launched a Starry-Eyed podcast, mostly to, again, help learn from some of the top CEOs, CMOs, brand leaders of how they stay inspired. So we're kind of going behind the scenes of some of the best loved brands to see how it happens. And our first couple of guests were the VP of brand for Stanley, who shared with us, because we worked together to define Stanley's North Star when it started to get crazy just before the car fire broke out, but thinking through how you would bring one of those legacy brands into the now and expand it with a new customer segment and target. And then our second guest was Scott Lawton, who's the co-founder and chairman of Bar Taco. And he broke down how you would measure not just with sales, but sentiment. So really aligned with what Starry is all about, keeping the consumer at the heart of everything we do, and then just helping brands to think about where they are going next, how they would meet the guests' needs, and also just be ready to take care of their teams.
Liz, I'm going to kind of catch you off the spot with this question, but when you guys look to help support the story brand or storytelling for a brand, do you dive deeper into the history of the brand and how they actually started and evolved, or are you trying to get them around the next turn and think about and ask questions toward what their future is like as you talk through that story process?
Great question. Both. We like to say we look back to move forward, because a lot of times the hidden or latent brand equities that are in the very foundation of how it started are what is going to move you forward. So the Stanley example is a good one. We looked back to uncover how William Stanley created that first insulated bottle and realized that innovation is really at the heart of everything they do. Another one of our shared faves, Heather Neary at Taco John's, we worked with her, and it was really about looking back to assess why the brand started, how it started. In that case, it was all about the Wyoming cowboy culture and the equities that nobody else could do. So that really carried us through to outline where the brand can be. So yes, we look back and then we figure out what is most relevant about that, what is most exciting about those true stories, and how can we use that to set us apart from where we are today, and not just against the direct competitors, but the aspirational ones too, so that we're ready to grow, for the next 5 to 10 plus years.
Oh,
And I'll
restaurant
say
leader.
with my fellow, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I see a lot of these faves at different conferences, different events. I also travel a lot for consumer research, because we're big proponents of real world insights and meeting guests where they would interact with brands best, breaking out of these focus group facilities, which we haven't done focus groups in facilities for years and years, because it's so important to meet guests in the restaurants where we are. And then same thing for a lot of the sessions where we have our North Star sessions, envisioning the future of the brands. We want everybody with us. So it's really important to meet in person with all the cross-functional leads, the founders, everyone who's going to be a part of that future of the brand. So a lot of travel in addition to doing it for fun with a lot of littles.
Liz, you are I always like to understand why someone goes out and starts their own, and I want you to take a minute and just cover that. What specifically inspired you to launch Starry-Eyed Strategy, given that you've spent time in the industry?
A couple of reasons. Number one is helping up and coming brands in addition to some of the bigger brands. So while I loved working on Starbucks and Cinnabon and some of these massive global brands, I have such heart for independents and up and coming restaurant companies. So we're able to, with our small and mighty nimble model, customize each dream team based on the project. And that way we can help, startups. We have a really nice partnership with Eat Denver, which is our independent restaurant coalition in Colorado, doing deeply discounted strategy sessions for them. So we could do whatever we want. It's the ultimate freedom. And then if we need to, expand the team to work on bigger brands, we're working with Hard Rock, for instance, a global brand. So we can do that too. And then another thing, just between in the circle of trust with our women leaders, it was also because the company where I was before was not as empowering to women leaders. And I love the idea of, if you don't have your seat at the table, you build your own, and you can include as many women as you want to. So there were a few reasons, but those are the keys. And I think ultimately the freedom, the flexibility to do what we need to do as working moms is the key.
Well, congrats, Liz, on the success that you've found. And I just appreciate you connecting how brand storytelling can really drive impact to a brand, and just being able to tell that story and understand and making those connections from past to future. CMOs are terrific guests for a podcast because they talk so beautifully about the product and the company that they're with. So I think you've started an excellent platform for them to do so. I'm very excited to hear a couple of your episodes. Next up, we have Kelly Grogan, founder of CRUMBS, a growth agency that helps restaurants unlock incremental revenue through, get this, catering, local marketing, third-party delivery, and more. She's a results-driven hospitality executive with a proven record of building and scaling high-performing programs. And she's known for turning overlooked opportunities into sustainable, profitable wins. Outside of work, Kelly loves to travel internationally, eat and read, preferably all at once if she can. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Lauren, thanks for having us. Thanks for pulling together such a great group. It's awesome to be sharing the space with everyone on here.
I love getting to know each one of you and the amazing companies that you're attached to. Talk to us about what inspired you to create and start CRUMBS.
Yeah, CRUMBS was really a passion project. I think similar to Liz, it was born out of I was looking at my surroundings and loving what I was doing, but potentially not in the environment in which I was doing it. I wanted more, and I wanted to bring more to the restaurants that I was speaking to on a daily basis. And CRUMBS was really born out of being able to help restaurants in a way that we know what they need to do and we know what they all want to be doing, but they may not have the training or the resources to be able to do so. And we are so passionate about how the 5 incremental revenue channels, how positively they can impact the bottom line, and how they can keep not only the doors open and the lights on, but can enable operators to hire another manager, open a second location, add on another shift. And so it was really a passion about driving revenue and driving it on behalf of restaurants. So it's scaled pretty quickly here, which has been a ton of fun.
We spoke earlier, Kelly, just one-on-one about some of these spaces to increase revenue for a restaurant brand. And I'm hoping that you can share an example of an overlooked opportunity that you've seen restaurants successfully tap into.
Yeah. Catering is definitely, if you're not doing catering, you should call us. We'd love to help you. But catering is one of those opportunities that is just, it's the most effective form of advertising for your restaurant. It's the tastiest form of advertising as well. And so we love to help operators tap into the catering category, because getting one catering order is suddenly getting 20 new customers. And there are so many resources and tools that are out there right now for restaurants to take advantage of that will suddenly put your brand in front of many more eyes, all at the same time. And so being able to take these operators and help them not only get more catering orders or just dip their toes into catering is something that we're not only really passionate about, but is proving to be a significant growth channel for operators today.
Catering is huge. Our headquarters are in Chicago, and our events team does a wonderful job of catering in every week, and it's something different. And when I travel in, I love it because I get exposed to another new restaurant group or current that I just haven't had a chance to try. I love that. It's an excellent form of advertising. Okay, so here we go. I love hearing
I was
how
going to say,
each
we're
of
going
you
to have to call right after this.
Yeah, love it. I love hearing how each of you have carved your own lane in hospitality. Different paths, but a shared passion for building, supporting, and growing great brands. It's a perfect setup for our next round, my favorite part, where we're going to dive into how each of you balance what you're doing with that drive for excellence and a personal well being and growth in your own life. So, if you don't mind, Julie, we're going to start with you and then go through one by one. Answer this question for us and the listeners. What does your fitness routine look like right now, and how has it evolved alongside your career?
All right. Well, I was up at 6 o'clock this morning to a very quiet house. I also didn't mention this in my introduction, but I do have two kids. I have a 4-year-old and 9-year-old, both two boys, Zach and Josh. Love them dearly. But for me, I wake up at 6 a.m. And I'm a big Pelotoner. Like to me, Peloton has changed my life. I do not work for them. They are not sponsoring me. They should. But either way, I have drank the Kool-Aid so proudly as a full-time working mom. I can't get to fitness classes. I cannot leave the house. And before Peloton, I had so many excuses about, oh, I can't work. I'm going to miss this time with the kids. I won't be able to do drop off. So my alarm goes off at 6. I'm on my bike at 6:07. To me, my current training schedule is I do a mix of cardio and weight training. I will say the number one thing that has changed my life as far as my fitness journey is picking up weights. My entire life, I was a cardio girl. I used to do triathlons and never lifted a weight once. Like if a friend dragged me to a class where there were weights, I'm like, okay, I'll go. But like to me, like in my head, it was just cardio, cardio. And I started my current health journey about 3 years ago at this point. My youngest son, Josh, was 2. And I was like, all right, I got to lose the baby weight. It's time to get my life in order. I was really unhealthy because I wasn't moving. I've never been one to overindulge in food. Of course, like, here and there. But to me, that wasn't my issue. It was lack of movement. So once I committed and got a Peloton and said, I'm going to do this. But the impetus was at my 39th birthday, I got my physical with my doctor, and she looked at my blood work and she looked at me and I said, don't say anything, just give me 6 months. Like it was just that, that look when someone gives you like they're about to tell you something. I'm like, nope, don't even say it. 6 months. And that's really what did it for me, because I really knew that to be the best I could be professionally and personally for my kids, I wanted to be strong. And with the Peloton, they have weight training programs. And so in which case I pretty much do every single week a split training. So split trainings are one day is push muscles, another is pull muscles. And then I do legs and a core. But I also do 10 minutes of core every day because it's really fun to be able to be like, hey, look, I got a really strong core. And it's really our core that helps our body move. So my journey, it's 5 days a week. And especially when I travel too, if I know that I'm doing 5 days a week of exercise and then 2 days rest, I will never not give myself 2 days rest. What does 2 days rest look like? It's definitely not moving the same muscles or body groups that I did, but is it a beautiful day and I'll walk extra that day just to keep my body moving? Yeah. Is it a yoga? Is it a very deep stretch? Absolutely. But for me, I always try and also get 10,000 steps a day, no matter what day it is and where it is. But I think the most amazing thing that's come about all this is not only am I inspiring my kids, my son, most kids want like a watch or a tracker to talk to their friends. My oldest son, Zach, wanted it so he could see if he could beat me in steps every day. So like without me even pushing anything or any ulterior motives, like here he is learning and he's picking up. And even at work, when we're talking, about fitness and even in the office in conversations, one thing I love to do with my team is try and once a month, hey, let's all go do a group class together. And I made a joke before we started recording too, is when we go on the road, the fitness journey doesn't stop. And I think I read somebody did an interview. I want to say it was Kelly Eston from Toast, and someone's like, what's your one bit of advice for people who are traveling so much for work? And her thing is keep your routine at home, but on the road as well. So if we're in Vegas and it's, I'll still wake up at 6 a.m. and I made it back to the joke. I'm weaving back and forth here. Kelly and I are always, comparing like, hey, want to do Orange Theory if we're in the same city together? And really, I think when you travel on the road, you find your group of people where fitness also is really important to them. And we make it part of our lives on the road as well. So
Yeah.
and there's great gyms at hotels, like great gyms. So take advantage of them.
And then sometimes not great gyms, and that's horrible.
Yeah. Well, that if you have an app, you can do things in your room. So, but I don't have a treadmill at home. I run outdoors. Like I'll run outdoors as long as there's not ice on the ground. But I do get really excited for a treadmill because I don't have one, so I get to do a treadmill workout. As corny as that is, that gets me excited.
You can find your people at events. Sometimes they say no the first time, but they come around that next one because they remember being asked. So I think something that I
Exactly.
got out of what you said is you start to get to the same events with some of the same attendees. You make that connection that you can do a class together, and if not this time, next. Barry's Boot Camp, Orange Theory, Core Power. These are great national brands. So I love that you shared that. It's really a fun and unique experience, even to do with a new client, to push them a little bit out of their comfort zone.
And I will say to add to that, when we were just at FS Tech in September, I had to meet with Marcus. I know everyone knows Marcus. I'm like, Marcus, let's just meet at the gym. And like, we just went on the treadmills and like had a 20-minute meeting when we were walking on treadmills next to each other talking, just because sometimes that's the only way. And you see the same people at the same times, who's doing cardio, who's doing weights. And, I have my friends too that like, sometimes it is, I would say, intimidating to lift weights at a gym where there's lots of people, and finding other people to encourage you to do that as a female for me is nice to have.
Shelly, how about you? What does your fitness routine look like right now, and how has it changed throughout your career?
So mine, I'm very similar to Julie. I'm all about lifting weights, but you will not catch me on a treadmill unless it's the 2-minute warm up. I was a collegiate soccer player. So cardio was so much of my fitness journey growing up. And I've learned I just don't like it anymore. But I have fallen in love with a barbell, and I have learned that the barbell will meet me regardless of where I am, of my routine that day, how much effort I have to give, what clothes I'm wearing. If I washed my hair that day, the barbell doesn't care. And so that is why I've fallen back in love with CrossFit. So I did CrossFit about 10 years ago when I was single and didn't have much care or concern with anything else. My schedule was a little bit easier. And then got married, had kids, and figured out that I didn't have as much time to give to myself as I thought I did. So my fitness journey kind of evolved and it kind of fell off. And then I tried a couple different things and then fell back in love with CrossFit again about 5 years ago. And when I first started, I was working out in the evenings. My daughter wasn't old enough to have soccer practice in the afternoon, so I had more time to give to her then. And then as she's gotten older, I have learned that my schedule has had to change and adjust as well. And so I wake up at 5:30 every morning. I'm at the gym by 6, and then I'm at home by 7:15, ready to start my day with whatever that looks like now. And my schedule is I give it as many days in a row as I can. And so much like Julie said, it could be an active recovery day, but if I'm home for 6 days, I'm in the gym for 6 days. And so sometimes I will give it 100% of me workout, and some days it gets a 40% of me workout, but it's always showing up to give whatever it is that I have to give at that time. And I know it was really hard for me to get to that point where I was like, okay, let's try something different because CrossFit's expensive, like everybody says, and it can be far. And it's the community that brought me back in. But it's also that feeling of knowing that regardless of how I show up, I have those people who are going to hold me accountable. So I have a girlfriend who will text me even when I'm on the road and she's like, okay, what's our workout today? Where did you go get it in? What did you do? And so she will send me the workout and she's like, okay, here's what you're going to do in the hotel gym. It's a dumbbell only, or it's no weights. And so it's having those people that hold you accountable as well, that want to see you succeed. And then knowing that it's okay to take time for yourself. I was at a women's food service forum, and it was one of my first conferences. It was probably 8 years ago. And they had said, we give so much grace to everybody else, but we don't give enough grace to ourselves, and we don't allow ourselves the time to be selfish. And so we always say that it's selfish to take care of ourselves. Like I don't have an hour to give. I need to give that hour to somebody else. I could give it to my kids, or what if I did an extra little laundry, or if I did the dishes? And I have learned, and we've heard it said so many times, that you can't pour from an empty cup. And so that hour in the gym is me filling up my cup. And at first it felt selfish because I was taking taking that hour when I felt like I could give it. But now I know that I am a better version of myself, and I'm able to give more of myself and a better version of myself to everybody in my life if I take that hour for myself. And then that it translates into what other people see in you as well. And so other people want to be better because they see you being better. And so my daughter has taken that on as a fitness journey. And so she's 11. And where I thought it was being selfish because I took it, I left this morning before she woke up because she didn't have school today. And she's like, Mom, I'm mad that you're leaving. She was like, we were supposed to go to the gym together. I don't have school. And
Oh,
so she sees it now as an opportunity because she loves being strong and she sees it as a strength. And she's like, I can do more than the boys. Like the boys don't do enough. And so being able to see that in her has been really rewarding as well.
awesome. That is awesome. Liz, mom of 5. What about you? What does your fitness routine look like?
Well, Shelly, that's so sweet that you're gonna have another little built-in workout buddy, and you
It
too.
is.
The boys will come with you. I love that. Well, Lauren, I was reflecting on this, and what I've realized is my workout routine today is a lot more fun than it used to be. I think
Oh, I love that answer.
I think in my 20s, I was probably obsessed with exercise over exercising, and I always had to have a marathon or a half marathon or something to be training for. And babies just blew that all up, which is in a good way. I didn't have the time. I don't want to spend the time running for hours every weekend. And it was almost like as I was looking back, you remember on Love Actually where he says enough now. I was like when I had that first tiny baby, what I realized is I don't want to pass that on to the next generation. Like I realized I needed to work on, I think, the mental side of that and not overdo it. So I think that was a really nice reset where as soon as I had my first daughter, I was like, I am going to be so much better about this and not obsess about it. So I think ultimately these days I try to make it much more fun. I live in Boulder, Colorado, which is beautiful and you can walk right outside and go on a trail run. So I try to run most days. I go with friends to Pilates, which is like 2 miles away. You girls would be so proud of me. Usually I only work out early in the mornings in the summertime because it gets so hot. But lately, the last few weeks, even though it's been dark, I've still been getting up at like 5:25 twice a week, running in the dark down to Pilates. And
There you
it's
go.
beautiful. It's like a starry night sky. Everything's just, alive. It feels like it's still nighttime, but you can really see the stars twinkling down. So it's actually quite magical. I'm a morning person all of a sudden. I didn't even
Huh.
realize.
I
So
love
that's mostly what I do. I run most days, Pilates a couple times a week, like you girls. I've been trying to do weightlifting at least once or twice when the kids are all at gymnastics. I will multitask and then I get my steps in either hiking with a friend, tons of walking meetings. People think it's so strange still, where I'm like, can I just call you so we can walk and talk? And they're like, okay, sure, we'll go outside. So working that into things. Weekends, I'll either do a long run or a long walk with my husband. It's really nice that that's our time to kind of catch up. And he's a big runner too. So we just make it so much more fun. And the littles can stay behind, do some chores, and then they like to come with us too. They're on their bikes. We've been doing a lot of little 10Ks, like the Boulder 10K, where 30,000 of your best friends run once a year in May. You got to come. It's the best. And then you can really see that, like everybody has said, you can see it reflected in just the healthy ways that our kids would go about that. So we've got a lot of little gymnasts, soccer players. Our daughter's killing it in cross country. And it's just so fun to watch because it's not that you have to do it, you get to do it. And I think just being outside in nature and being active is part of the best, some of the best that comes of that. And then I will say for being on the road, like you girls, I always bring my workout clothes. I'll either go to the gym, run outside, or if I'm pressed for time, do a little workout with Jake Dupree. Has anybody seen Jake Dupree? He
it.
goes, just your little exercise warm up run like you're running from your ex-boyfriend. We've all made mistakes. He's so funny. And so even if I only have like 20 minutes in my hotel room, it really picks up the day. I'll send it to you.
Hey Liz, can I jump in and say something fun? So my personal records I get running or when I go with my kids on our path when they scoot. because they scoot faster than I run. So I always look at those. I'm like, wow, I did really like, how did I go so fast that day? It's because I'm catching up to them. So when you're talking about incorporating them and Shelly with your daughter too, it's like sometimes we'll just do that for fun as like it's a beautiful Saturday. And the next thing I know, it's added exercise where I'm like out of breath and they're like, more, mom, more, faster.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have gotten to the point where I don't even measure. Like maybe I'll know my routine so I know how many miles it is, but I don't time. And at the same time, then you're exactly right. If they're with you on a scooter or a bike, you go so much faster. The other thing I enjoy doing is playing tag with the kids at the playground, and I've never sprinted so fast. Get
That's
your
how I get my
speed
cross
work.
country team to work out is actually we play kickball or tag because they sprint so hard.
Oh,
And
that's
they're
so
middle
funny.
school, so you have to trick them. Okay,
I
so
love it.
you did mention something about packing, and I want to call this out because when I do go to pack my bag, I've got 4 kids. It's always tough to leave the house, but one of my favorite things to do is pack my workout outfit because it is bringing a piece of myself, my routine into that hectic, busy work travel schedule. And it does show respect for just maintenance and consistency, but also I just know it's going to be a great booster out on the trip. So pack your workout gear when you travel. It is an important piece to be able to working out once you get there and making sure you've got running shoes and the right shorts and shirt. So, Kelly, how about you? What does your fitness routine look like and how has it evolved throughout your career?
Yeah, I would say so I'm a big class junkie. I think my favorite thing about that is that it's scheduled, right? There's a timing, there's a start time, there's an end time, there's somebody telling you what to do. You can go in, you clock in, right? You leave your phone behind and you're able to just kind of be there or be present. And sure, your mind may be going in different directions, but it's something there's a little bit of clarity there. Um, and I think, leveraging different resources like a class pass or an Orange Theory or knowing like every market I go to, I travel quite a bit. So I think I went to, I'm going to say it was 14 conferences this year, layer in a bunch of different client meetings and being on site with clients. Like my routine is the second that plane lands, it's pull up the app and see what's available, right? I check Orange Theory, F45, is it Soul Cycle? Is it, pull up, find a class because just like we actually train in growing catering sales, right? If it's not on the schedule, it doesn't happen. And so from a workout standpoint, if it's on your calendar and you commit to doing it, just like you commit to doing so many other things, it's a lot easier to make it happen than waking up and trying to come up with a plan or figure out what you're doing or, as I've found, right, it's really easy to say, well, I can hold off running because I can do it later. And then later never comes. And so for me, I get it on the schedule, get it out of the way. I think, for me is definitely the walking meetings are so critical, especially in such a Zoom heavy world that we're all living in, is like you could find yourself sitting at a desk for 4 to 5 hours, right? And so I like to start my day with picking the meeting that I can make a walking meeting. And so again, it's just really kind of that proactive commitment to making it happen, because we're all moving so fast and schedules change and there's a lot of unpredictability. And so the more that you can kind of proactively plan for it, like packing your workout clothes, the better the chances are of it actually happening. In a world where I, started my own business and yes, I've built a team, but, working remotely as many of us are, or maybe not being inside of the office, it's easy to kind of get lost in your own thoughts and get lost in the minutia of kind of being at home. And I found taking the time to take that walk where you don't have a screen sitting in front of you, whether it's your phone or your laptop, whatever it may be, it allows you a little bit of clarity to let your thoughts work themselves out. And so I've been really grateful, whether that's walking or running, knowing that like if I'm up against a problem or up against a situation where I'm trying to figure out how to handle it, taking the time to get up and go walk or go run helps me in sort of processing through those thoughts, regardless if you're listening to something or doing something or not. But my workout journey is definitely scheduling it, getting it on the calendar. That could be my type A. But it's something where that's the only way to, really ensure that it happens.
Love that call out about taking a walk outside if you work remote. That is huge. I do think it's, we're not around a lot of people. It's probably why classes are so fun too, for you with that energy. So, but what a beautiful answer. Thank you for sharing that. You all have said something so interesting. Either it's not necessarily getting motivated to jump in, but even for some as mothers trying to pull yourself back out, or not even trying, but it was just a natural tendency once you had kids. CrossFit and the integration of your kids in your workout and just how exciting that can be. Assuming that fitness, and let me back up. If I talk to someone who travels a lot or works a lot, the first thing that they normally say is, I really want to get back into working out, but I can't imagine fitting it in my schedule, or it's so hard to think about getting up any earlier because I'm already so exhausted through the day. And what I normally tell them is actually the days that I set my alarm, even for an hour sooner, I have more energy than and had I slept through that hour, which seems counterintuitive, but from my experience, that's true. So if we all assume that fitness enhances our performance at work, and feel free to counter that, in a few words, explain how or why, or what impact do you feel your fitness has on your work? Starting with you, Julie.
I think like you said too, so part of it for me, especially if you're working in the food service and the restaurant industry, right? We're around food, really delicious food, sometimes really full of calorie food. And it is, about finding that balance. And I remember with one of our restaurants, Big Daddy's, was a family style diner. It was milkshakes, right? Like, how do you say no to eating all this delicious food? And I think it goes back to balance, right? So I think if you have a mindset where okay, I am going to be eating a little extra. We have a photo shoot at the restaurant today. Oh, I'm going to make sure I do an extra. Today's my cardio workout because I need to burn a few extra calories, right? But and then sidebarring too, it's I think what you're saying. If you have it in the mindset, what Kelly's saying, it's in the schedule, it's in the calendar. I think when we start our days with more energy and feeling like, okay, gosh, I got so much accomplished today. And also, like for me, I work out in the morning, then I don't have to think about it in the afternoon. And I just know, oh, I got it done. So it's one less thing I have to worry about. And I know this wasn't actually part of your question, but I am going to bring this up, and kind of what I was saying before too. And when it goes back to travel and food, is a thing that, I think the restaurant, the food service industry needs to do better, especially at airports, is having healthy food options, right? Because what else also helps our energy during the day is eating right, having protein, having clean food, having good food. And especially for those of us who travel so much, if you go to certain airports and the only thing available is fried or heavy or gross food, it's another thing we have to think about, right? So, I mean, even like when we talk about planning, something that I do is I know where I'm going to eat and what terminal I'm in. And if there's no healthy options for me, what can I kind of bring to my room? Like, and even when I go for morning flights, I bring my own breakfast on the plane. I know the airport security people at Newark Airport they test my overnight oats because they're a little thick. Like, I know exactly. But and then it's also like on the way home too. It's like, okay. And by the way, I also, great product for anyone who travels is oats overnight. If you like your oats, it's the powdered oats, and then you can just go to the Starbucks at the airport and pour in some almond milk and like take a little nap on the plane and then shake it up, and you've got breakfast, healthy options. But either way, that goes back to the planning, and that if we are strong and if we go into our day with a good mind and a clear mind, and we are well fed and we've eaten good things that give us energy, and we know that our movement has given us energy, it's just going to make us be happier. I think happier people, when we have others who work with us, we spread our happiness and we spread our joy. It's the same thing if you walk by somebody who's like crunky and growling, you might be like, okay, what's up with that? But if you walk by someone smiling and happy because they are well fed and they've taken care of themselves, you are what you put out in the world, right? So I don't know if that completely answered your question, but
All of our questions. Yeah, I love it. No, it's a good answer. Good tips too. Love the overnight oats. But Shelly, with CrossFit, there's a lot of, not problem solving, but just challenge and push throughing involved in that workout. I'm curious if you utilize that at work at all, or how you might make the connection of how it enhances your performance at work.
Absolutely. One of the things, especially getting it done first thing in the morning, I already have that winning mentality. I know the hardest part of my day is over because when
Mm.
I'm in there, it's me and myself and the barbell, and there is no one that's going to push me any harder than what I am going to do in that day. And so am I overcoming whatever obstacle I lay out? And the best part about it is the weights don't get any lighter. We just continue to get stronger. And so
Mm.
you learn how to deal with hard better because it's what you do every day. You continue to work at all of these things so that you can get stronger. You keep lifting the same weight, and some days there's going to be bad days and you're not going to lift as much as you did the day before or the week before. And then all of those are all a part of the lesson as well. And it's going to be what gets you there. So I am able to take that and build on that at work a lot because it's taught me patience, because I know that it's all a part of the process, regardless of where I am. And I know that there's going to be better days ahead, that sometimes the hard is just part of it, but it's going to make me better. And then it's taught me how to be better with my team. My team will even ask me, there'll be certain days they're like, you didn't go to the gym today, did you? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, you're not very nice today. And I'm like, oh, you can tell that. So we all see that it brings the energy and it makes us better because of the endorphins and all the wonderful things. But it also gives you some of that connection point, I know specifically to my team. And so we create a lot of competition. So it gives you that winning mentality to start your day, to say, hey, I've already done something hard. I've already done something great. Like everything else is easy. And so it just kind of helps prepare you for success.
Winning mentality. I love that. And I like especially in supply chain where I work, there's a lot of challenges every day and it's fast paced to problem solve. So how to do hard better. Love that. Love that. How about you, Liz? What would you say, make the connection for us on how fitness actually enhance or further drives maybe your creativity, I'm sure, for your work.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Well, I can relate to what Shelly's talking about. When I got to my 6 a.m. Pilates class the other day, the instructor said, the moment you all walked through the door at 6 o'clock in the dark, you won. And I was like, yes, I won the day. I would say that's the same for the rest of your work day. It makes work easier. It makes parenting easier. It makes pregnancy easier. I think that was a big unlock for me too. I just continued to do what I've been doing with running, then ratchet down to just walking as your belly gets bigger and then you ramp it back up. It's like you keep the
Yeah.
same sort of routines and it makes it a lot easier to bounce back, like we talked about, not to mention you have babies to be your weights. So I think that was a big key piece to just continuing to stay active throughout. I think that starts your day off strong. And I think you can be more creative because you're not worried about survival. You're not worried about either being hungry or, not being able to do what you want to do.
Mhm.
You can do everything once you have that, especially if you have it scheduled and ready to roll. I would say too, the hydration piece is big. A lot of times the travel fatigue that we would face, it's because we're dehydrated. I'm surrounded by Stanley water bottles for that reason. So I'm with Julie too. Like some of it is just preparing, having your water bottle, bringing a favorite snack. I was delayed and really sad without my usual things. And now I'm like doubling up. So I'll have like my protein bar. I'm really into these women-owned True Bar protein bars right now. So I take that with me, or almonds, just always having something so that you're not succumbing to the food desert that can be the airport, which I think is turning around too. Like in Denver, we have another female-owned restaurant concept called the Finch. She has a whole Olive and Finch collective, and she now has Finch on the Fly in DIA. So I will seek that out. Like if I have to go to the next terminal over, you have to find your fresh snacks or your salads or whatever it is that will get you through. But yes, I think not only winning the day, but also just, building on that to be so much more creative. You can do so much more because it makes everything easier.
How about you, Kelly?
I can't echo Shelly enough in the people can tell when I haven't worked out in the morning. But I equate it to, it's like a rubber band, right? They say that right, well, two things. One, it's just like making your bed in the morning, right? The theory behind that is like you can say that even if it's a wildly unproductive day, you did get one thing done. You made your bed, and you can cross that kind of off the list. I feel the same way about working out, right? It gives you that accomplishment of I did that today, and that was, there are so many benefits that come with it. For me personally, it's definitely like a rubber band, right? Brand new rubber band. If it's never been stretched before, it's like your brain when you're waking up in the morning. Going from waking up in the morning to just having some caffeine and going right into the, the work day, the meetings, the emails, the whatever it may be, tough when you haven't given yourself the time to just sort of awaken your mind. And I do believe working out in the morning, as simple as a really good stretch, like Julie mentioned, or going for 10 minutes, go a little bit further to a coffee shop that's around the corner, or just doing something to give that mobility, and giving your mind the ability to sort of warm up and to wake up, can make a really big difference in, your mind. I will, if I miss the workout in the morning, gosh, I will dread working out all day long and keep saying and trying to come up with any and every excuse to not have to do it. But there is literally no better feeling than walking out of that workout class or that workout when it's done and being so happy with myself that I did it. The energy and endorphins that come from working out, just that movement, the accomplishment of crossing a workout off the list, it just really, there are so many benefits both professionally and personally that make a big difference, that make us better and happier all around.
Great
Can
insights
I
here.
brag for Kelly for a second? Am I allowed to do so? Kelly and I are friends on our Apple Watches, and Shelly, Liz, Lauren, if you guys have them, happy to do it too. My favorite thing is when you get a notification that a friend just finished a workout and you can send one of those automated messages. I will tell you, like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, I don't know if Kelly's on the West Coast or what, but like, I just love my phone pops. Kelly just finished a workout and it's
Yes.
so fun to do. But like, so like you were saying, Kelly, like you may have it in your head, when am I going to do it? But I see you doing it.
And you
fit
know
it
what?
in.
Nothing makes me happier than when it is East Coast and it's 11:55 and I see that we completed our rings, right? Like
Yeah.
it's small things, but definitely the Apple Watch has helped hold me accountable and cheer Julie on from afar. So
Accountability partners, and
yes.
anyone out there listening, Kelly and I will happy to
Yes,
happy
happy
be
to
friends with
join.
anyone. Yeah.
Amazing. All right, fine. I'll start wearing my watch so that we can cheer for each other.
Yes. It's so fun. I love doing it.
So that's actually a perfect segue into my last question before we get into more of a rapid fire final mile here. What advice would you give to the woman or man that's listening that has a busy, hectic travel schedule or just busy work schedule and wants to get started with a fitness routine? What would be your piece of advice to share, starting with you, Julie?
The number one thing I will share is what I did for myself and what I tell everybody. It's not about what I ate. It's not about what I moved. The number one thing I did to change my life is that I stopped making excuses. There is an excuse for everything and why you can't do something. Start saying yes and stop saying no. And I wear that on my bracelet. I have a bracelet on my wrist with it. So stop making excuses and you can do it.
Shelly?
I'm going to build on the winning mentality. So start with something small that you can make an adjustment for, that you consider it a win. So whether it's you went for a walk that day, or whether it's you decided to drink an extra glass of water, whatever it is, start small and start winning, and those wins will start to build upon themselves.
I mean, that's just like so perfect for work too, right? Once you build that momentum, the confidence comes as a result of it. So just start doing the little actions. I love that, especially as it relates to fitness. That's an excellent one. Liz?
Mine would be make it fun. Pick something that you enjoy doing and find someone to do it with. So even if it is just walk and talk, have a phone conversation with somebody so that you're moving, or invite a friend to hike, or invite a friend to a class. It makes such a difference if you make it more exciting and something to look forward to. It shouldn't be a slog. It should be something that you enjoy and look forward to. And all the better, like we said, if Kelly, if we schedule it and find the class that we will just appreciate, I think that makes a huge difference. Don't feel like it's work. It's something that should be much more fun.
All right. How about you, Kelly?
I'd say two things. One, just because somebody has a workout journey that worked for them doesn't mean it will work for you. It's so personal, and so you need to figure out what fills your glass when it comes to working out. And the other thing I would say is don't underestimate the power of your own body. Have the ability to get out of bed every morning, and so you have the ability to stretch. You have the ability to take a couple steps, and your journey can really start there.
Awesome pieces of advice. I love how each one was different. Let's do a final mile quick answer question. I'm going to bring us back out of fitness for a second in the hospitality space at the forefront. And starting with you, Julie, if you could wave a magic wand and instantly solve one challenge that we face in the hospitality space, besides the airport food, what would it be?
More affordable childcare for everyone in all aspects of, just because someone's C-suite doesn't mean they don't have similar issues as somebody who is in the back of house or server starting off their career. It's not enough has given to women prioritized financially and as far as time goes.
Love it. Shelly?
If I can give a shameless plug, the Texas Restaurant Association and Emily Williams Knight is doing so much as it relates to childcare within the industry. And so it is amazing to see the direction that things are going, but I could not agree with that more. I will say, and completely different, it's data overload. So we have all of this data and we've gotten really good at gathering data, but now it's how do we get the data to work for us? And how do you leverage data to become better? And so that can be across inside innovations within the restaurants, but it could also be within any segment of the business. And so it's how do we get data to be better and be more tangible with what we do?
It's a good one. Liz?
Those are actually my top two. We did some nonprofit work with the ECC of Boulder County for that reason, to figure out what parents need and how we can better connect parents with daycare providers. So yeah, as a mom of 5, that's got to be way up there. It shouldn't be so hard. And then the single point of truth is the ultimate. If you guys listen to the Bar Taco podcast we did the other day with Scott Lawton, talking about how they can just seamlessly assess guest sentiment and have that drive over sales and then take action in real time, that's amazing. And I think that's where we're headed from a future focused standpoint, so that all these random POS systems where everything is muddled, you actually focus that into how you can best take care of the guest and give them what they want.
How about you, Kelly?
To echo on that, I'd say transparency and collaboration in the space. Gosh, we're all working hard, and the more that we can work harder together and in the same direction, the lot easier everything becomes. So definitely the collaboration amongst all tech partners to help operators makes a big difference.
Wow, awesome insights today. This has been an amazing conversation. Julie, Shelly, Liz, and Kelly, thank you so much for sharing your stories, for being transparent, for giving insights, and just a little bit of magic behind how you make it all work. To our listeners, I hope you're walking away inspired, whether it's building your brand, growing your career, or just figuring out how to juggle it all without losing yourself in the process. I'm sure each of these ladies here would love to connect with you if you have any questions based on their company or format of workout. I'll include contact information in the show notes. Just remember, leadership, innovation, and balance, these are not mutually exclusive. With purpose and connection and a little courage, you can have it all. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Grounded. That's a wrap on this episode of Grounded. We've covered a lot of ground as we explored what it really takes to run food service behind the scenes. For show notes, highlights, and our latest market insights, visit us at groundedonthepod.com. Grounded is powered by the Buyer's Edge platform, delivering smarter solutions, greater efficiency, and real savings through connected tech, powerful data, and industry expertise. For more information and to get a personal demo of the Buyer's Edge platform, email me at lauren.mitchell@producealliance.com. And if you liked what you heard, subscribe so you don't miss an episode.